WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
Imagine life as a cricket match. You're playing well, enjoying the game, when suddenly an unexpected delivery comes your way. A critical illness can be that surprise bouncer. Fast, unpredictable, and challenging. Having critical illness insurance can be your game changer, providing financial support when you need it most. Don't wait for the unexpected. Get the right coverage with a critical illness insurance solution from Sagicor. For more information, visit sagicor.com today. Terms and conditions apply.
Let's get real on Win FM. Hi, this is Lavi. Let's get real Wednesday nights at 8 on Win FM. Get ready for an hour of real talk that will keep you engaged and informed, bringing you insights, the hottest topics of the moment, and perspectives that matter from the runway to the political arena. Real talk with Lavi covers it all. Let's get real Wednesday nights at 8 on Win FM.
Got itchy palms? That's a sign. Money could be coming your way with Scratch and Win from Caribbean Lottery. It's the easiest way to win instantly. No waiting, no fuss. With tickets starting from just $2 up to $20. Win over $35 million in prizes. The higher the price, the bigger the prize. So scratch today for your chance to win up to $200,000. Available at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 years and older to play.
The importance of co-parenting. Every child has the right to bond with the parents that gave them life. Children are happiest when they can freely communicate and enjoy the time, talents, and lessons that each parent brings to the relationship.
We make co-parenting difficult when we focus on differences rather than what is in the best interest of our children. Parents, your relationship with each other should never affect the relationship you have with your child. Celebrate your children together. They deserve your best. A message brought to you by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
Morning, good morning, and how are we doing this morning? Welcome to today's edition of Island Tea. It is the 24th day of April 2025. The time just about 6 minutes after the hour of 8. Just to remind you, we're being simulcast on TVC Channel 40, Facebook, and YouTube. The numbers you can get us at if you wish to join in on the discussion or bring something to the fore in the UK, 0333 440065. In the US, as we were informed yesterday, only one of the numbers are on, 305-921-4619. And to get us on the local line, it's 466-098-9. Hopefully we have the other lines up and running as soon as possible. Thank you for your patience.
I think they came up yesterday.
They came up?
Okay,
well, if you can get us on the 718-285-6984, let us know. And if you can get us on the 662-0989, please let us know that they're all up and running. We appreciate you. Quint, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Trying my best as usual to be my best. I am looking through the headlines to see what would have piqued our interest. What about you? Any headlines that stood out to you?
Well, I've got some clips on the church, some very, like this pastor, a pastor who wanted to get money from the church, so he told the deacons to lock the door.
Oh, you mean the singer? Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
but I think he explained it, but if you want to play that, we can start with that.
Yeah, so you have anything else that you want to?
Nah. After that, I'll just speak about the water distribution.
So I'm going to play the first one where I'm going to play two. One where he told them to close the door, and one when he tried to explain, what was happening. So here we go.
Close the doors for me for a quick moment. I want everybody to remain standing quickly. How many of y'all really received something from the word of the Lord tonight? Listen, when you study scripture, you will notice that whenever God did something in the lives of the patriarchs of old, the patriarchs would pause, they would set up an altar, and they would offer up sacrifice. I asked each and every one of you how many of y'all received something from the word of the Lord. Everyone in this place said these words, I did. Because of your acknowledgement of what God did in word, there is an obligation that is attached to that acknowledgement. In biblical days, they offered livestock, grain. That was a type of currency. Note, if you will, I did not say money. I said currency. And this is what God is saying for at least 1,000 of you in the building. And this is simple. I'm not going to challenge you the way Bishop did. But I know that there's 1,000 individuals under the sound of my voice that can do what I'm about to challenge you all to do. This is simple. 1,000 people giving what I'm about to challenge will be $20,000. 1,000 people giving what I'm about to challenge you all to do will be $20,000. I'm a strong believer that leaders lead not only in time, not only in talent, but also in treasure. Leaders lead in time, talent, and treasure. I was taught a long time ago that it costs to sit up here. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. We all gonna leave together. Y'all ain't going no place but to the restaurant. There's 1,000 of you tonight, and those that are watching, it's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. Now, everyone up here, we've all sowed and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100. Because again, it costs to sit up here. Y'all start moving. Y'all can bring it right now. Come. Even if you're giving tangibly, just put your hand on take your phone and stick it on the bucket. Shh. Giving is worship. Giving is worship. 1,000 people online need to give $20. This is easy, saints. This is an easy miracle. We should be able to raise $40,000 tonight just from y'all giving. I'm about to go get in my truck. I'm going to my hotel. I got me some fruit. Look at us. Yeah. Now after you come up here, you can open the doors. Y'all can walk out the door after you come up here. But make sure you come this way before you go out the door. That's it. Look at God. Look at what God has done. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm good. I'm out. Peace.
You know what gets me Look at what God has done. Look at the miracle. I mean, how is it a miracle? How is it God when it's you trying to fleece the people? And you see how persistent he was? Close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors.
But in his defense, right?
Yeah, I know you were going to come in his defense.
Yes, because, all things that we have are of God and comes from God. We will take our monies and go and spend it. As he said, everybody was going to go to the restaurant. Don't mind you supporting the restaurant, but sometimes you have to give something to get something. And we know that's how life goes in general. Let's take God out of the equation. But God bless us. God give us life. We wake up. We get to come to work. We get to get back home safe. He gives us life. He gives us vigor. He gives us everything. So he just asking them for a little bit to raise for something. Hopefully it's for something good.
Yeah.
And I figure being that, Lord, I don't want to say this before people beat me up, but our culture will try to sneak out as quick as possible, because when it comes to things of the law, we don't want to give no extra, but we're going to give extra elsewhere.
But don't you think it's wrong for him to? It's like a threat. You can't go home or you can't go out unless
Unless you give you $100.
Yeah, and he says, you can leave when you're finished, but make sure you pass here. Make sure you pass here. No, I don't like that. And here's a clip I'm going to play before I play the one where he tries to thing, because this one is going to show you how the church gets a lot of money and it doesn't give back.
Well, attendance at the black church is down, and it's a lot of things that go along with that. Now, we're going to talk particularly about the black church. We don't talk about other churches. But in the black church, I grew up, in a missionary Baptist church, and you went to church on Sunday, you went to Sunday school in the morning, and sometimes you go right back to 3 o'clock service, okay? So church was a major thing in your life. And you fast forward, let's say to 2025, this current generation, definitely Gen Z, millennials for sure, they're not in the church house like that. They're really not. The unfortunate thing is, due to people not getting certain spiritual guidance, we have a big decay in morality that wasn't there when I was growing up, at least in the 80s and 90s. Now, one of the big issues that get people out the church is not God, but is the preachers. And there's one sister gonna chime in on one of the major issues with the church. Check that out.
I just found out something heartbreaking. Black churches are making over $15 billion a year. Now, and they don't give back to the black community. They are taking more from the black community than anybody. They complain about, we complain about other races coming into our communities and selling things, and we purchase from them, like the Koreans. They have the nail shops and they have the hair shops, and then you have the people who own the gas stations and the liquor stores. All of these different races come into our neighborhoods, and they draw money out and they don't give back to the community. They go back and live with the so-called high society type people. I'm not even going to call names, but we all know who they are. And they go live among them and don't give back anything. But what about the blacks that are doing it? The black churches. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's insane. They are making $15 billion a year, and they do not give back anything.
The church is receiving, up to $15 billion a year, what the sister's saying, but I knew this ahead of time because I reported on this, and yet they don't do nothing in the communities with that money. But you see the preacher looking like, he looking good. His wife is looking good. They driving good. They living good. Everything is good with them. But the people who are the members, not so much. A lot of people have been hip to that game. And a lot of people say, man, I'm cool. I'm not going over there. What? So this dude can just try to lace me out my money? I am so cool. I work hard for my money. Well, I'm just going to give my money to him. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying every church act that way. That's not what I'm saying. There are some churches out there that do great for the community. But how I feel, that if you are a 501c3 like a church, you must, period, create a daycare center. You must do something for the seniors. You must do something for the sick and shut in. And you need to do something to help out the widows and the single moms. You need to do something with some job training, you know, and helping people get jobs. You know, doing actual things in the community that's really needed, right? Reason number 2, you don't supposed to be talking about the politics of man. You're supposed to be talking about the politics of the Lord. You're supposed to be talking about the word of God. You're supposed to be talking about his statutes and commandments. You understand what I'm saying? And any preacher is out here preaching party, knowing that the core values of the party is against Scripture, then that's a problem. You shouldn't be preaching no party, no Republican, no Democrat, because both of them do things against the Scripture. Not saying that we can't be involved politically, but we make our choices based off of righteousness' sake and also what our community need, not because, I'm with this party, I'm with that party. That's why I've always said before, I can vote for either party at either time. Why? Because it's about what we need, and also, especially locally, you got to pay attention. Because it may not even be a certain party. Forget a party. What that person going to do? But a lot of people, especially younger people, they hip. They hip to the game. And people know pimp game when they see it. And that's a lot of reason why, people not in the church house. The church house isn't doing what they're supposed to do. And people's like, well, what's the point of me going over there when I can chill at my house?
Yeah.
That's a waste of time anyway. But it's a shame Black church not doing what it's supposed to do.
So what do you say now?
Okay, now we are admonished to pray for our leaders, and that's it. Now, you will never see me going around telling Christian people, vote for Labour, vote for PLP, vote for PAM. None of my business. These people just have, they work with the earthly mandates to lead people for the time that God decides whomever is going to win or to lead the people. What I do for them, I pray for every single leader around the world. I pray for the people they have to govern. I pray for the pastors, because more and more I see the pastors are falling into the traps of temptation, and it's disgusting. When the other day I see one pastor in the States for a little girl, I was like, and the color again, I was like, what's wrong with you, bro? And then we saw the pastor that I told you that went into his congregant's house, and apparently he's been stalking the lady. Like, what's wrong with y'all? I know we blame the devil for everything, and sometimes we shouldn't even blame him, but we have to work on ourselves. So that I don't agree with. You won't see me preaching no Democrat. No.
And there's the other part about how much in the billions they're making and not giving. I mean, you've seen pastors like Teflo Dollar with jets and all those.
That's when
or whatever.
Miles died. A lot of people had a lot of negative things to say. I won't join in on that because I have to leave that one to Jesus. But they were like, because they're flying around in these $1 million. We don't know when it's our time. I can't say that was his time. I do not know. I didn't delve into the consequences of its accident, so I don't know. And the Bible also says that when you serve God, you live a type of way. But then more and more, especially in the north, we see the pastors looks like they're showing off on the congregants. So as I said, the black people gonna bust off. I'm not giving you my money to look this good, and then you're not helping people. But I've heard that it's easy to give them your money, and I've heard that from the north, not around these parts, but it's hard for them to help you.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be better than that, because we don't want to end up in stuff like this.
And you see how the youths are referring to the church now as a pimp.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get worse than that.
Yeah,
it means that the church is prostituting, the pimp uses a prostitute to make his money.
Yeah,
so they're hip to the game. So I'm gonna play the one where he's trying to explain now, and some others.
What do you think about locking the doors? You think locking the doors, technically it is holding people against their will, but I'm asking God to give me wisdom in this one. Was it just to get them to contribute to whatever the cause was?
It was just to get them to contribute to the cause. And the cause was some seminar, it wasn't his church, some other church, some seminar. So it was something to do with, it wasn't something that would disseminate money in the community or anything. That it was to do with the church itself, right? But you're going to hear from some young people, and how they feel about what he has to say in terms of explaining. So here we go.
This is crazy. Marvin Sapp now is, I guess, trying to apologize and take some accountability, but I'm not buying it. Let's take a listen. Let's take a listen to him on the Ricky Smiley morning show explaining what happened in the apology.
People took issue with me saying shut the doors. Understand, I never said lock the doors.
Yeah.
Shutting doors means people still have the ability to go in and out. And I can honestly say, looking at the video, maybe I was a little more assertive than I should have been. And I can apologize for that. But number one, the $40,000, if it was $40,000 that was raised, was never given to me. That money was raised for the purpose of taking care of the budget for their conference. Number two, it didn't happen at my church. It happened in Baltimore.
Of course.
People take issue with me being firm with the ushers. But the doors needed to be closed, and there was a lot of pandemonium and stuff that was going on out there.
Due to you, he said,
Wow.
baby, it's y'all fault.
Excuse me? There was a lot of pandemonium. Yeah, Ed, did you threaten to close the doors?
I didn't hear the whole Ricky Smiley interview. Salute to Ricky Smiley, but I wish they just addressed the problem of shaking down folks who may not have it. Like, I go to church for spiritual relief. I don't go to church to get shaken down for money that I may not have. Don't shame me like that.
And the same is if you're sitting up here, you got to pay to play. But like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are closer, so you got to pay more.
You got to pay to play.
That
It costs to
sounds
be up
crazy.
here. That sounds crazy in the church, Mr. Sapp.
It does. No matter if it's $20, $5, $10. And to your point, Charlamagne, but even that little part of it, I'm like, where was I needed the rebuttal, challenge
right?
a little bit, because it's like, okay, we understand
Ricky
all
grew
of
up in
that.
the church.
I don't care what conference or anything you at, where they putting the oil on you. Like, to me, and there were videos going viral of other pastors doing this. To me, I feel like this is something, it's like you're kind of tone deaf just a little bit. And it's okay to say you messed up. And then none of this, to me, is he saying, hey, I messed up.
Yeah.
It's like excuses
I was
for
just
what
in the
happened.
moment. I am sorry. I don't blame it on the Holy Ghost. Just take accountability for it. Yeah, it was wrong.
And nobody likes that, man. I remember going to a mosque one time, and the guy at the mosque was like, "Who got the first $1,000?" And he would not.
They do that at the mosque too?
I'm not saying they do that at the. I'm just saying that this one particular mosque, the guy was like, "Who got the first $1,000?" And he would not move off that 1,000 for like 20, 30 minutes.
That's good.
Nobody got it.
I think that it's like, okay, chill. Like, the way you go about it means something.
Yes.
But I want to play this last audio because Marvin Sapp is also saying that he's now receiving death threats because of this.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
The reason why I'm here is because what has happened is people have taken clickbait and made something out of it that it isn't. And because of that, my church has been getting phone calls. People have called my church and cussed me out. My staff are afraid because I've received death threats over $20 and shut the door. So now we've had to update and increase security, and all of this is because of a misunderstanding.
All of that is because it costs to sit up here.
That's
remember?
right. That's right. And it's not that they doing it for no reason. They doing it because you are literally shaking down people who don't have it. They upset about that. This is called backlash. I'm not gonna say those death threats are real. It's crazy to call the church and tell somebody to go to hell, though.
Yo,
That's crazy. You call the church and tell them go to hell.
And it wasn't even your church.
But that's the new bullying, the death threats. That's what they do
Yeah,
online
that's
all day long.
story, yo. You gotta watch.
I do feel for Marvin, though, 'cause the headlines is crazy. It's like, Marvin Sapp holds congregation hostage for 40 grand. If your grandma was in there, y'all gotta see you.
Yep.
If my mama was in there, you held my mama hostage.
Yep.
For $40,000 that she ain't got.
Exactly.
Talking about you never would have made it. You ain't about to make it.
All right. Well, that is the latest with Lauren.
Listen, just needs to just stop. Yes, he sing a song, never would have made it, but that's he would never would have made it without Christ. I could see where people felt that they were being held hostage, but as I said, we give away money on other things. We buy things we don't need.
Yeah, but
and
it's
I
your right,
understand.
Hortensia, it's your right to do what you want with your money.
Yeah, 'cause if you
you're going to give to the church, give it voluntarily. Don't have a preacher in this. And whether he said shut or lock, well, he didn't say lock, but shut the door means close the door and you won't get out until you
give
pay
me money.
something.
Yeah, that part I don't.
You know,
I
we seem to have a caller.
That part I don't agree with. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning to everybody. Greetings once more in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from the sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, that is a very interesting issue that you all are dealing with right now. I know of that video for, sometime now. But before I address that video, there are two issues. There are two issues I would like to get out the way before I address that issue. Excuse me. Quint.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. There's another issue I would like to address. I tried this 66 number and I still were getting problem, you know.
I see another number. Let me see. I see another number lighting up now, so let me see if I can engage it. Okay, the person hung up. So at least we know two of them are working that I usually see here. So, yeah. So go ahead.
Yes. Well, first of all, Quint, since you don't be playing videos and Chris, there is a video.
I only play the audio. I don't play the video.
Well, okay, yes. Yes. Well, since you don't play the audio of videos, there's a video. It ain't really too long. It's a video called 10 countries black people are fleeing. I think that would be very interesting to play. And those countries are in Africa.
Okay, we have another caller. You can stay on the line. Hello, caller.
Yes, no problem.
Yes, the overseas line is working.
Okay, so we know that.
Okay,
good morning, Mr. McMahon.
Morning.
Do you want to chime in before we get back to Greg?
Yeah, you can let him go ahead. And
okay, Greg.
I'll hang on. Yeah.
Greg, go ahead.
Yes. Like I said, the video there, it's on YouTube. Top 10 countries black people are fleeing. Two of them are in Africa. Two on the list are in Africa. Algeria, I'm surprised to hear about. Libya, I'm not surprised, because with Libya, since Obama, Biden, and Hillary Clinton murdered and overthrew Gaddafi, Libya has now reinstated slavery of black people, where they even now selling black people as slaves, auctioning them off and so as slaves, black people. I'm talking about real slavery, like in the transatlantic type slavery. So I'm not surprised to hear Libya, but Algeria, I did not know about that black people are also fleeing. And I mentioned those two countries because, they talked about linking up with Africa. So I think that these are very interesting information.
So you think that because there are two countries where blacks are fleeing in Africa, that has 54 countries that we shouldn't link up with Africa?
No, but I mean link up with all over the world. But I just mentioned that so that you could know who you're linking up with.
No, okay. But I want to place I want to place emphasis on the fact that you're speaking about 2 in relation to 52. You see the big difference? Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. While we are linking up with people, let us know about who we are linking up with.
Again,
it ain't our company. It ain't our company is good company.
Again, I repeat for emphasis. In Africa, there are 54 countries. You singled out 2
of them,
trying to give the impression that we should not link up with Africa because 2 countries have problems and blacks are fleeing.
No. Why is it not? Don't link up with these 2 countries until they get straight now?
No, because when you started, you specifically said that there are 10 countries. There are 10 countries that black people are fleeing from, and you specifically picked out the 2 in Africa. You didn't speak to any one of the other 8 anywhere else in the world.
Because we are talking about linking up with Africa, so that is why I speak out those 2 to show that even with we being enthusiastic about linking up with Africa, we should be very careful even with that still, because there are at least 2 countries in Africa where black people are fleeing from.
Mr. McMahon, do you want to chime in? Yeah.
Yes, that's absolute nonsense, right? What Greg seems to be talking about is some illegal activity where that practice might have occurred.
Yes.
It's certainly not institutionalized slavery. It cannot be.
Cannot be.
Right?
In this day and age.
No, it absolutely cannot be. Right?
But they're selling black slaves. In Libya, they're selling black slaves. They're selling them openly.
It's not institutionalized slavery, meaning that it's not something condoned by the government, meaning that it's illegal activity. You have illegal activity all over the world. No government, not one, can ever openly sanction slavery. Nobody, no one, not one. I can guarantee you that.
No, I'm
it's illegal activity, just like Greg, human trafficking, those kinds of things. But to use that against linking up with African countries, is nonsense. To be quite frank.
Hortensia, let Hortensia chime in here. What do you feel in terms of?
I got nothing to say.
No, hold on, Quinn. I am not against linking up with any government.
Come on, you should have a lot to say.
No, I have nothing to say.
You don't have a point of view on this?
Because I don't know what's going on, I can't join. I'm here trying to read some things while you gentlemen speak to see what I can find out, but I don't know, so I don't know what to say. But as Quint would have said earlier, two countries shouldn't let us stay away from the others. It's just two.
Yeah.
It's just two.
No. But apart from that, it's unfair to ostracize those countries on the basis of illegal activity that is happening in their country.
Yeah, we should try to rectify the problem.
Hello?
We should be trying to rectify the problem, find solutions.
And you don't rectify it by marginalizing them.
No.
You know?
Okay, well, number one, where Libya is concerned, we ain't him to show it is an illegal activity. We ain't him to show about that.
You mean the
that is
selling of the people?
Done openly.
Selling of the persons you said that are placed into slavery?
Yes.
Okay.
In Libya. Since Obama, Clinton, and Joe Biden murdered and overthrew Gaddafi. They're doing it openly. BBC, I think it is either BBC or CNN, one or two did an expose on it. And the government
they probably did an expose on human trafficking and those kinds of things. I am saying that in 2025, no country can openly sanction slavery. None.
But what I'm saying,
where can we find the information? Because I'm reading up here and I'm not seeing anything.
Greg. Let's move on from that topic because we're gonna
right. Yes. And plus research can easily settle that, right?
Yeah.
Greg, what I would suggest is Greg come with his sources, and then we can settle
I think BBC
but regarding the pastor,
Greg, you were saying something, Mr. McMahon?
Yes, regarding the pastor. I mean, if that wasn't a shakedown, I don't know what. It was so obvious. They should have charged the man with kidnapping.
Oh,
right?
He didn't lock the doors. He just shut the doors.
Huh? They should have charged him, and he not only shut the doors. Nobody was supposed to leave unless. They should have charged the man with kidnapping.
No.
I mean, this is outrageous.
Outrageous.
I don't mind people spending their money however they want to spend their money. If they want to waste it, it's up to them. And you can't put a price on somebody's spiritual well-being. Just like you can't tell somebody, well, go to a Vibe Cartel show, even though
you might not agree with it.
Waste of money.
Yeah.
And you don't like his music and that sort of, or his lyrics and that sort of thing.
So buying the ticket.
It's what gives you entertainment, satisfaction, and you can't really put a price on it. That is why people prepared to pay all kinds of money, even just to watch a football or basketball game.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And to me, that's freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice.
Right, exactly. And similarly with spirituality. There's a spiritual side to man, and you can't really put a price on how people decide what gives them spiritual satisfaction, right? I mean, I remember, for instance, quite some time ago, most people probably might not remember, it was a big thing to introduce new forms of music into church.
Yeah.
Right? The people felt that the church had become too traditional and boring and all of that, and wanted to introduce something that would attract people. And to a large extent, it worked. You look at the proliferation of churches around the island, and you realize that people are searching for something, and that is why you have so many other what we call side churches.
Yeah.
Or so many churches springing up. Okay, they go until they find what they're looking for, and that's their right. Okay, it's what gives them spiritual satisfaction. I remember just 2 days ago, last Tuesday, I think it was. Yeah, just Tuesday. There was a discussion on another radio station about why persons who, when they become, the more and more education they have, the less likely they seem in tune with their spirituality. They stop going to church, etc., etc. Okay? And one of the reasons, well, at least I advance for that, is the fact that when you're educated, when you're trained or educated, you're less, well, first of all, you're trained to think, okay, and to reason, and to deal with science, evidence-based kind of approaches.
Yeah.
And so, whereas spirituality depends a lot on faith, right? And I would add blind faith. In other words,
blind faith, yes, I agree with
yes,
you.
you don't question things like that. You don't try to have gotcha moments. You don't try to contradict things in the Bible or whatever, Quran or whatever source you get your
information
guidance and guidance and leadership from. Okay, you don't do that. It's just blind faith, and that conflicts with what you learn when you're and the higher you go, especially, the less likely it becomes, because the higher you go, you tend to depend more on yourself, not so much on the teacher, or lecturer, but more on yourself, more on doing research, more on drawing conclusions based on your research, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Okay, and that might conflict with the whole religious phenomenon. Right, and so it's pretty much the same thing here. And that is why, like I said, I tend to shy away from these arguments.
Yeah.
It's an individual thing, right? You deal with your own spirituality, right? Let the other person deal with theirs.
It seems as Hortensia is itching to say something.
Look.
Finally.
Yes. Look, no, because if I don't have information on something, caller, I won't speak on it because it makes no sense to me. And I just pulled up something, and it's saying that slave rating was from 2011, 2017, but the article was from 2023. So when I get more on that, I can engage Greg with that one. But look at ISIS and all those Muslim groups. They raise thousands on thousands on thousands of dollars to do bad. I understand what people are saying. Sometimes the churches don't help. I'm not going to condone just because I'm a religious person, I'm Christian, I'm not going to condone it. Because we ought to help. The Bible tell us to help. We see from previous writings in the Bible that we are to help. But we may have fallen short. With them saying close the doors, yeah, I see you're holding people against their will. Allow people, even if you're asking for the second offering, allow people to put what they have. And with God's blessing, you never know. It just may multiply and be more than the 40 that you're looking for. But I don't agree, and I always wonder, why is it we have to be begging in the church of God when everybody else going to put their money to something? Because how are you going to take up $10,000 and give it to ISIS? and you would have to be asked for that $10,000 in a religious organization as the church, because ISIS would say that's their religion too. So why
people
is it
people do give the church big sums of money that we're not aware of.
Hortensia, what is the difference between that, let's say, and giving money to, let's say, a political party or a politician?
That's what I'm saying. We're going to take up money without being asked and give it to these people, but in the church you always have to be saying, oh, let's raise an extra offering, let's do this. Why don't we see it fit to say, okay, let me tell the pastor, hold this 10 here, this is to help pay the electricity bill, this is to do that. As I said, they're raising it for the conference. Everybody come to the conference, say you might pay a little bit of money, but how many nights you there?
But
how long is the hours that you worshiping? Current, we're not on earth.
Hortensia, that's marketing, though.
Greg?
If you are going to be appealing for money, you try to do it in the most professional way possible to get as much as you can. Yeah.
Mr. McMahon, Greg has been waiting patiently, so let's let him chime back in.
Yes. Okay. Quinn?
Yes.
First of all, I want to say, I encourage trading with everybody, okay?
Yeah.
So let it not say I am discouraging trading with Africa. I encourage trading with everybody. I'm just saying, let's know who we are dealing with.
Okay.
That's number one. But I encourage trade with every nation. Be a friend to all and an enemy to none.
Yes.
Now, concerning this church thing, like I said, I knew of this video. And with all due respect, I always say, there are certain, number one, the first video you played, the narrator said that he knows, I sound like a male voice to me, that there are those churches that are doing great things in the community. So he said he's not speaking about all churches.
Yeah.
That he knows of churches that are doing great things in the communities. That's number one. Number two is that a lot of these, number two, there was a similar thing that happened in St. Kitts. It wasn't to do with money, though. But even then, I still don't like it. One pastor had people of the government in his congregation. And he said, close the doors and let the government people walk out first, and then after they're done outside, you could let the others out. I didn't like that either, because in church, everybody's supposed to be on the same level. In the church, at the foot of the cross, nobody's supposed to be higher than nobody. Nobody's supposed to get more rank than anybody at the foot of the cross. In the church. In the church, it's supposed to be, if there's only one place in the world where we are all equal, that's supposed to be in the church. So, I saw that similar, I wasn't there, but I saw it on the internet during a live service where that happened, a similar thing. And I still think that was wrong. That pastor that is on the discussion right now, I think that is an issue of kidnapping and that sort of stuff. Not only that, but I always say, while nonsense and foolishness does happen in all churches, there are certain types of nonsense and foolishness that, as far as I know, only happen in certain type of churches. And those certain type of churches are Pentecostal churches, charismatic churches, and Word of Faith churches. Only those churches I know that certain types of nonsense, like the one under discussion right now, just happen under. So all of that needs to be pointed out. And you see, the reason why these things happen in these churches is because, especially in the charismatic, Pentecostal, and Word of Faith churches, is because in these churches, far more emphasis is placed on what you think God is telling you in your head. You know, you hear some voice in your head, and you think God is telling you something because of some voices you hear in your head. And these churches cater to that much more than the study of the Bible, much more, and hearing God through the Bible. They want to hear something that some man said that God told them. And that is why most of these types of nonsense happening in these type of churches, where people put experience and voices that they hear in the head, and voices, and some man come telling them what God told them other than by the Bible. And they do not put the Bible at the top. And that is why a lot of these nonsense, pressuring people for money and that sort of stuff, happen in these type of churches.
But Greg, why does the church always have to ask people for money? Why can people just not give the church money, just like how they give money to every single thing else?
The church doesn't have to ask for money, Cartense. I believe the church that is greedy. I believe the church gets money, and the church, it's not enough for the church. I believe, I mean, church, I've seen church pass, when the church service starts, they pass around a plate offering. Midway in the church, pass around an offering thing. End of the church, it has gotten so bad that even when people get to go to bury, they're passing around something to say they have offering. People give to the church. We are spiritually religious and so forth. The church is greedy.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the whole point. There's nothing wrong with an individual deciding what their size should be, what they should give.
Yeah.
Just like they would pay for any other type of service, entertainment, whatever. Okay? There's a cost involved, yes. The problem is, though, I think it's been taken to a level where it has become obscene.
Yes.
Right? When you see when you see the pastors living way above the means of the
audience, yeah.
Something is radically wrong with that, right? Just like how we are upset when it seems like a politician, for instance, goes from rags to riches, right? Because we know that it's public money they're using for that, right? In other words, our tax dollars, okay? There is nothing wrong with a particular level of living, but it should not exceed. It should not be excessive. That is the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. That is, I think, is where the problem steps in. When you want to tell people, well, I am the pastor, so I should have this extravagance, all this extravagance around me. That's nonsense. Okay. I mean, and it is not. I'm saying it should be equal either, right? Because to me, Greg, to your point, the only time that we'll ever have equality is when we're lying in the cemetery. Okay? That otherwise than that, in reality, it cannot exist. There will always be differentials. But it is the extreme that we find is what we object to.
Yeah.
Right? And too many of these churches, you find that extreme where it's obvious that the flock, the congregation, is paying for the pastor, the leader, to have lifestyles of the rich and famous. Something is radically wrong with that.
We'll do a commercial break. Greg, make your final point. Mr. McMahon, I think you're finished.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Greg, make your final point.
Yes, right. Let me say what the Bible actually says on this issue. Okay, number one, the Bible actually shows us, and more indirectly than anything else, but it is there, that one, churches are not to appeal for money from people who are not members. Churches are supposed to be only supported by their members. That's one of the ways that they're going wrong. This is Bible teaching. Number two, pastors who properly and accurately, who are qualified to be pastors, biblically speaking, who are qualified biblically to be pastors, and who labor hard in the word, in preaching the word and that sort of stuff. The Bible let you know that the church members And them only have an obligation to support such pastors who are true to the word of God. And Paul also let you know that there is a blessing as a Christian in giving to support the word of God, but nobody should be pressured to give. When you give, you should decide in your heart how and when you're going to give and how much you're going to give. And you should decide in your heart to do it liberally at your choice and not at pressure from other people. So the church have gone many ways because we have rejected and abandoned the word. They have gone many ways that are contrary to the Bible. Churches are not to appeal to non-members for money. And lastly, I would like to say, to tell people that another issue I wanted to get to and I didn't get is that abortion is sin, abortion is evil, and wickedness according to the Bible. And therefore, abortion should be condemned, and we should, even though it's not legal on the books here, I understand it's a big problem here, and it should be condemned and stamped out, and government should be doing what they can do to have it not to be in the land, because it is abominating the land. Abortion, which is murder, biblically speaking. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds are becoming victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, which is being forced into sexual activity before they are old enough to decide. This causes mental, emotional, and physical harm to our children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be our norm. We must work together to correct this. Help us prevent, help us protect, help us prosecute. A message by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Imagine life as a cricket match. You're playing well, enjoying the game, when suddenly an unexpected delivery comes your way. A critical illness can be that surprise bouncer. Fast, unpredictable, and challenging. Having critical illness insurance can be your game changer, providing financial support when you need it most. Don't wait for the unexpected. Get the right coverage with a critical illness insurance solution from Sagicor. For more information, visit sagicor.com today. Terms and conditions apply.
Tune in to Creative Voices, the ultimate radio call-in program where innovation meets inspiration. Join me, Dr. Sarah Owen, as I welcome brilliant Caribbean creatives and innovators for engaging sessions that promise to spark your creativity. Don't miss this unique opportunity to interact with our guests, ask your burning questions, and gain insights that could elevate your own creative endeavors. Tune in every other Friday from 10 a.m. to midday. Get inspired. Let your voice be heard. Mark your calendars and prepare to embark on a journey of creativity and innovation with Creative Voices.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea.
Found anything interesting?
No, remember the only thing I said I was going to talk about was the water. I sent you some of the stuff. I don't know how much of it we can get to see the one with Greg and the concern of the people being sold in market. So the article did say all of that, but when you read it, maybe we can get into that some more.
I'm not going to be able to read that today.
No.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's what I said. When you do read it, we'll get in. But for now, because the last update was 2023. I don't know what's happening in 2025.
to me, I don't think it's that.
Because what the article says, from what I read, right, it's saying that when people are sent back, like a lot of people from African countries are trying to go to Europe for a better life. And apparently, Libya, they have to pass Libya. So some of them are actually detained when passing Libya by the border patrol. And those that are sent back are being placed in detention camps. And then they do seem in 2017 to have a market where they do carry folks to the market. They're either sold into regular slavery or sexual slavery. That's as most as I gather from the article that I pulled up, that I shared with you.
And as we say, it is atrocious, and there should be some way to deal with it and bring it to a halt. But where I have a problem is that you don't just pick those two and say, that we shouldn't link with Africa, because there are atrocities happening even in the developed countries. Even in the United States of America, there's human trafficking going on illegally, as Mr. McMahon, as Mr. McMahon said. So these are atrocities that happen around the world. They are bad. We need to stem them, but don't just single out, that is happening in Africa. But he did clarify. He did on his behalf. Greg did say he wasn't trying to discourage integration and so on and so forth. So let's not hit him too hard over the head. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not trying to. But as I said, it's 2025. I don't know what's going on. And who said when Mr. Gaddafi was there that wasn't happening? Because that's the next thing. And you see, when you don't live in places, and I never followed those things back then, I can't say.
Well, I can tell you this: when Gaddafi was there, he was so feared that people towed the line. It is when the United States decided to kill him, murder him. Greg is right. They created chaos in that area. All kind of people who were of nefarious character, had all kind of devious plans and plots, came in and took over, and the America and the rest of the world just became silent. You understand? When Gaddafi was there, they picked on everything that he did. They said he was a madman, he was this, he was dictating to his people, blah, blah, blah. They got rid of him, chaos. The same in Afghanistan and those places, They go in, they cause more problems, and when the problem, they pull out. To me, I could be wrong, but to me, America sometimes and Europe wants this kind of thing to happen, where you're having so much infighting that they can just come, and behind the scenes they're using your resources, taking out this, doing that, and when anybody says, but so and so, they say, but look how they're fighting one another. You can't even get them to, but they created it in the first place. And that's some of the things they're trying to do in Africa also.
Because I look at Haiti too, right, Quint? And Haiti is a French territory, right? Why is it that they're always looking to the U.S. to help them fight? What is France doing?
Yeah, and
Has
France
wiped their hands clean of them?
France, that's a good point. France should be paying Haiti reparations. Imagine, they all after what they did to Haiti, they demanded reparations from Haiti. Haiti is only about maybe 10 or 12 years ago, Haiti stopped paying reparation to France, The French slave owners demanded that Haiti pay reparation for the loss of their slave capital and so on and so forth. So you see the atrocities that these people do to us,
nobody's helping
and nobody's saying anything.
Yeah.
And when they come in, I don't I don't agree with the fighting that's happening and the gangs and
because we're only
and so
killing
on and so
ourselves,
forth.
our
Yeah.
color. We're not killing any, and we shouldn't be killing any other color. But we are doing an injustice to ourselves, and that's what I wish the leaders of these gangs would tell these people. Who are we killing? They look just like us. They parlez français just like us. They come from the same country just like us. What are we doing? What are we fighting for? They're never getting the people they're intimidating the people at the top. And I don't want them to go and kill anybody. No. I'm not condoning that. But what are we fighting for? What has it led to? Has there been some kind of freedom for Haiti as yet? No. They've been fighting for years. They ran out the French with the help of Poland. They did all sorts of things, but they have not been free. It's like they're cursed.
They're cursed because
continually fighting.
They're cursed because the rest of the developed world wanted them to be so. And they still want it to be so. I mean, let's look. As a black people, we better be realistic. You see us here in the Caribbean and how we are living, and we have a certain level of, we are fairly well off financially in terms of development and so forth. Look, they didn't expect this, They expected that we would have crumbled, we would have self-destructed, and so on and so forth. And when a lot of them come to the Caribbean and they see how we're living, they're not too happy because for some reason, I'm not saying all white people, but for some reason there are a large number of white people who just feel that we are inferior. And look for instance, some years ago when this white lady went over to Nevis, she's on the beach and she wants to brutalize a youth, a child, for being on his beach where he was born. His parents were slaves in this country, and she comes down with her holier than thou superiority complex and feels that the child doesn't have a right to be on the beach.
Nonsense.
So let's be realistic. In the bigger, broader picture, a lot of the developed world don't want to see us as a black people reach a certain level. Yeah, it's a fact.
Yeah, but it always baffles me how France isn't helping Haiti to get back on their feet. They're just there.
Look, Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, all in French territories, And the French went in, built railways, but the railways were just to take the minerals out, get it to the seacoast, send it back to France so France can do whatever, refine and bring it back to different parts of Africa, make a lot of money. France is big and wealthy, and you keep those African people in poverty. I mean, that is what they want. They don't want to see, and this is why we as a black people have got to wake up. And this is why recently a lot of black leaders now, because of what happened in Burkina Faso and Niger and those places, a lot of other black leaders are looking at themselves in the mirror and saying, maybe we can do it. Because you find now a lot of these black leaders of these other countries are saying, we're seizing control of our refineries. We're sealing,
I see the latest was Namibia.
Yeah.
Where almost all the persons were run home that did mining over there. They ran them home.
Yeah.
And they basically said, since we have to have visa to go to your country, you
Yeah.
have visa to come here, so let's go, out.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a genocide that happened in, was it Namibia too? What is the country where this black lady recently became, and she's the only female leader? Namibia. Okay. She recently demanded that Germany apologize for the atrocities that took
they were
place.
once a German colony.
Yeah, that took place there long before the Jewish genocide by Hitler. But the world is silent on those things. You understand? And so we as a black people get more autonomy. We reach a level where we can dictate certain things and broaden our horizons. We are bringing back some of the history that they tried to smother and cover up, and we're trying to see if we can right some of the wrongs that have been done to us as a people over time. So there is a silence when it comes to as long as black countries in Africa can fight one another and like with the Houthis and so on and so forth, not the Houthis, those people over there in Rwanda who some years ago wanted to massacre those of a different tribe. You remember that? As long as this is happening, it's like they're glad to spotlight their news cameras and say, look at that, look at how they're killing one another. Not that we should, but it's like they prefer that than to give us what we rightfully deserve. For instance, France, you come into our country, you're going to take minerals, pay us what they are worth. Don't give us some cents, and then you take it over to your country and you make billions and trillions and that kind of stuff,
Yeah, and I see it here, because while we speak, I'm always pulling up something so that we can be quite informed. It says, in a powerful address, Namibia's president, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, calls on Germany to take full responsibility for its colonial-era atrocities, demanding a formal apology and financial reparations for the brutal genocide committed against the Herero and Nama people in the early 1900s.
Yeah. So we will not forget our past so that we don't relive it. Hello, caller?
Sorry to call in again, but as you mentioned France was actually 10 on the list, 10th on the list.
Yes.
That black people are fleeing, okay?
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I did not go into all this, because I know I would not have had time to deal with the whole list.
Greg, sometimes, listen to me carefully, Greg. You don't always have to rehash a story, I know. Sometimes you can let it lay. You don't have anything to prove. We have a debate, we say blah, 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 we move on. You don't always have to go back. You can come with something new. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, but France was also on the list. Am I saying we shouldn't trade with France? Of course not. Let's trade with France. But France was also on the list. China was on the list. India was on the list. Russia and Ukraine were on the list. And others. Am I saying we shouldn't trade with them? No, I'm not saying that. Let's be friends with everybody and an enemy to none. So I just wanted, but I find it interesting that you're mentioning France when France was really 10th on the list. And I just wanted to say that.
We mentioned
France is a very racist country.
We mentioned
where black people are fleeing from.
But we mentioned France in the context of helping Haiti, because remember, Haiti was a French territory. So we're wondering, why is it they look to the U.S. and other countries to help them fight what's happening, and why is it that France isn't helping them? Because I know they themselves ran France out of there with the help of the Polish, but still, some kind of olive branch should be extended in order to bring back some kind of unity and some kind of normalcy in Haiti.
But like I said, France is very racist because France was number 10 on the list, where black people are running from because of the racism. France was number 10. You're going to look at the video.
Yeah.
So you think France is such a racist country going to help black people? Anyhow, take care.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I think we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of way. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, hover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the doorway or any exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with Win FM.
Let TDC Financial Services help you go for your goals. Whether you're thinking of taking that grand vacation, down payment on a house, higher education, TDC Financial Services has various plans that will allow you to go for your goals. Choose from the Accumulator Plus, Investment Starter Plan, and Fixed Deposit. Ready to go for your goals? Visit us at TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on WinFM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on WinFM 98.9.
Parents and guardians, it's time to secure your child's success. Enroll them in Aspire and unlock amazing benefits. $500 in cash savings, $500 in investment shares, and life-changing financial education to teach budgeting, saving, and investing. Don't wait. Sign up your child or ward for Aspire today and give them the tools to achieve greatness. Visit aspire.gov.kn for more information.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
Alrighty, and we're back on Island Tea, and I have a headline here that I want to touch on. And it says, St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister to engage in high-level meeting in Washington. It's written by Ilana Weeks. And this article can be found on winfm.com. It says, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, and the leadership of other CARICOM member states are expected to have an audience with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The May 6th meeting in Washington, D.C. will focus on the 10% tariffs on goods from the Caribbean. The meeting will follow that of the International Monetary Fund. The meeting will include leaders from territories such as Grenada, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, St. Lucia, and the Bahamas. Dr. Drew said in quote, I am also scheduled to have very high-level meetings in Washington beyond the spring meeting with the IMF and the World Bank. That meeting will, of course, discuss the matters that are affecting St. Kitts and Nevis, the OECS, and CARICOM with respect to the new policy direction by the United States of America, so that we could have meaningful discussions and resolve any matters that need to be resolved, and to have productive discussion on how we can move forward as a hemisphere that could benefit all of us, end quote. Go ahead. We have a caller?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop and... Okay, caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Not bad.
All right. I hope you get a little better. You sound like you...
Not bad. Not bad.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Just called to say that I just can't catch you all on the radio. I just watch it on the TV, and I still cannot hear nothing on the TV.
Oh, boy. All the levels in the studio are turned up?
Only sometimes I hear, and the next time I don't hear. This morning I don't hear nothing, and on the TV talking. So I said, let me call and tell you.
Okay, thank you so much. But our technician, all of our levels are turned up here in the studio, but our technician has to look into what else is causing it to...
Well, let me say this.
Okay.
There are other aspects that we don't control here in the studios that are online, so we will see if whoever deals with the online levels and other aspects of it, that if it's on their end, but we won't be able to do that today. We won't be able to do that right now. When the show is finished, then I can get in touch with some individuals and find out. But from our end, it is peaking. Our volume is up. The meters in here are reading okay. Not everything that you hear on your end we're responsible for. There are other things that we go through and other systems that we go through, everything might leave here well, but by the time it gets to you, there's a problem. There are some who get it perfectly, depending on what they're on, and there are others who don't get it at all. So we're going to see if we can rectify that. Our apologies in the meantime. Yeah, so you can continue, Hortensia.
Okay. So, as Quinn say, we humbly apologize for that. So the United States has a significant trade surplus with the Caribbean region. Rather than retaliating, regional leaders decided on a collective diplomatic outreach to the U.S. government. Can we retaliate, though? Aimed at seeking clarity and urging U.S. authorities to reconsider the policy or make exemption for small island developing states. The new reciprocal tariff policy will negatively impact the Caribbean economies and residents, particularly driving up cost of living, said St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister. Meanwhile, several discussions that have ensued on radio talk shows suggest that Caribbean countries should lower their applied rates at the ports to help offset the high cost of living.
What do you think about that?
I'm here wanting lower. So if what's this basically saying, if you pay less to bring in the goods, then you can offer the consumer the goods for less then. In terms of it, because they're saying, it basically said that meanwhile, several discussions have ensued on radio talk shows that suggest that Caribbean countries should lower their applied rates at the port to help offset the high cost of living. Because we know, if the excuse me, if the distributor has to pay that cost, then they pass it on to us. Just like if the tariffs go up, they still have to pay that. Everything is passed on to us so that they can make back something. Because nobody goes into business for zero.
No. Anything that, any added tax or price hike is going to be passed on to the consumer. And that is just a natural fact. What I will say is that all of this, we didn't have to be going through this. We did not have to be going through this. All of these things have been imposed on us unnecessarily. We were going along quite well, and some decided that they were going to shake up things in the world, and it was going to be all fine and dandy. And unfortunately, the shaking up has been more negative and less positive. I know the most recent we have been hearing is that, I think I saw an article where the Trump administration said in relation to, remember that they were saying they were going to put 100% tax on any goods coming from China by their ships built in China. I recently read something, I was only able to peruse it in a fleeting manner, but it said that the Trump administration was offering relief along that vein. So I don't know to what extent, to what extent has the 100% proposed tariff gone down to 50%? Is it gone to nil? Is it, so.
They're talking behind the scenes. I guess there's nothing to report as yet because I didn't hear anything along the lines, because the fact that there's been a stay for 180 days.
Speak a little louder, because remember they're already complaining that we're low, and I think they want to hear your lovely voice a little bit.
No, I said the fact that they have the 180-day stay. Maybe discussions are happening behind the scenes, so we have to wait and see
how it plays out.
And hear the results, because I haven't been hearing any. Didn't hear anything this morning or yesterday. Not that I've been in tune all the time, because I am busy. But I will look at that and see what I can find or hear or see. But I didn't hear anything.
I heard on our news this morning an article from our news team that spoke to the fact that a large faction of the Trump supporting base is very annoyed and displeased with the fact that things have gone up. They were saying they did not expect things that they expected to go down has gone up, and things that they expected to go up have gone down. So in the near future, unless the Trump administration can do some magic, it's going to be a whole lot of rumbles in his faction. A lot of rumbles, a lot of anxiety, a lot of displeasure from those who supported him.
Yeah. And I also saw most recently that Pete Hesketh may be in trouble again because there was a second leak of a signal chat. Second leak again, and then I saw a next headline that says he may be sharing war plans with his family. I mean, I don't want to sound defensive of anyone, but when you're in a certain position and you have family, you would want to tell them things, but you hope they keep their mouth shut. But then you still pledge allegiance and you swear not to say anything. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Yes, it's me again. Now, yes, a lot of people have, like I've said before on a previous program, a lot of people in the mega movement are really opposing Trump with a lot of stuff that he's doing. And a lot of them has been disappointed because Trump promised from day one prices are going to decrease. But it's a very interesting thing, though, because coming back to the local scene, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, one of the two. I think what they think it's Nevis Times, and I'm not too sure if Everton had it as well. I'm not too sure, but definitely think it's Nevis Times. And they ran an article, and embedded in the article was a clip, was two clips actually put together. And it was one, the President Prime Minister, when they were campaigning, he promised that he's going to bring down, just like Trump, promised that he's going to bring down prices. And he condemned the rise in prices on the Team Unity. And well, after a while, yes, they broke up, but prices were rising all the time on the Team Unity. And he condemned it and said, well, then when he gets into power, he's going to bring down prices, because there were things that were going at the time with increasing prices, increasing the cost of living was not right, and it could be fixed by him. And then the second clip that they joined to it was Edinburgh on Freedom Radio with the fair-skinned lady. Forgot her name.
Yeah,
but she don't be hosting sometimes she hosts the talk show.
Yes, go ahead, Greg.
Very
don't
beautiful
bother.
lady.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And on that program with her, Edinburgh was now saying that that we're gonna have to be tightening our belts. You know, we're gonna have, and this is before the Trump. I think this is before even Trump announced tariffs, because long before Trump announced tariffs, prices has continued increasing in St. Kitts, and so we can't blame the Trump tariff. So yes, so that second clip was added when Edinburgh said to the lady, Jamie, I think her first name is, that we're going to have to tighten our belt because, well, implied that things are going to get worse and worse. So we're going to have to learn to tighten our belts, you know, and that sort of stuff. So it went from we're going to bring down prices to we're going to have to learn to tighten our belts. So the same promises were even made locally with the present government when they were campaigning for office. So just quite interesting. I for one was not fooled by any of that, because what they were proposing, just like the others, I know, would have increased prices, not bring down prices. And I think it is very intellectually dishonest that the Prime Minister is now saying that the inflation is all imported. 100% imported. None of it is due to any local domestic policy. Well, I think a lot of the inflation is imported, yes, but I also think a lot of it are also due to the local domestic policies, and prices have been rising long before, even before Trump came in office.
Okay.
So let's not blame it on Trump. So yeah, the same thing happened here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
Trump, Greg defends that president just like how he defends Jesus.
He's not. He's not a fan of Trump.
He is.
He is.
He told us Trump was gonna win.
Well, it's because
he's a Trumper.
He might have been following the trends. I mean, that doesn't mean that
he backed Trump to the end.
Greg.
Even though we were trying to discourage him.
Cortensia says that you are a big fan. You're part of the MAGA. What MAGA?
MAGA.
Yeah. You're one of Trump's MAGA fans.
Yeah.
I don't believe so, Trump.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think that Greg is gonna say otherwise. The time is 9:28. You're in tune to Win FM 98.9. You're listening to Island Tea, and we're here trying to just have bits and pieces of discussions. Hello, caller.
Hey, good morning, Quinn.
Good day.
Good morning, Potentia.
Good morning.
Good day, Africa.
How are you?
And I'm good and giving thanks for life yourself.
Good, thanks.
We're fine.
There has been some glitches in the technology, so if I was missing in action,
yes,
wasn't intentional.
Yeah, no problem.
I wanted to touch on a topic which is this. With the Trump administration, there has been some changes. Whereas under the Biden administration, I would have noticed one, Lloyd Austin. He was in Pentagon. He probably was the chief of staff, whatever his title was, but he was mainly like, he would speak on like AFRICOM, the agreement with the U.S. policies towards Africa.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I have noticed a new face. I have not gotten the name down pat as yet of the new gentleman that assumed that position. But nonetheless, the message is the same. And for the life of me, the box will stop with us. Because here is it, this new gentleman, he is talking about Abraham Traore, the captain or the president of Burkina Faso, and the strides that he is making, considering country like Burkina Faso gained independence only in 1961, 62 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, if you do a comparative analysis with other countries that gained their independence after that 61, 62 date, they would have made strides. So here is it, the French and their policy really chokehold a lot of countries.
Yeah.
And now that the young man is making strides, building housing, increase on his food security, where they are exporting grains to other neighboring countries. Someone of our phenotype, someone of our pigmentation, would want to be the one to be saying some things that is not sounding good. Recently, Burkina Faso, they discovered a lot of crude oil.
Yeah.
Of high-grade quality, some 50 million barrels. But it's not ExxonMobil, or it's not BP.
No, it's Russia.
Or it's not none of those companies. It happens to be a Russian company because the likelihood of finding oil under the sands, the desert sands of the Sahel, like Burkina Faso,
yeah, it was on
like 1 in a million.
Yeah.
But yet they discovered oil there, crude oil. So the potential is vast. And we have seen the fight. So I just want to sound the alarm that my solidarity goes there, and I will have to mobilize local like-minded people to bring the awareness to the general public that we're not standing for that. We are showing full solidarity with the young man in Burkina Faso and what he's trying and attempting to do for his people. His people who is like,
but Africa
still has not reached to the surface of what civilization should be in these days.
Africa, I agree with you. I agree with you, but I also want, whenever we speak of Burkina Faso, I want us to also mention Niger and what's the other one? Mali, because remember they're united together, and they're trying to move forward as a unit. So I don't think it is fair to just always pick out Burkina Faso and leave the others behind, because I think that is what the Western world wants us to do, to leave Burkina Faso almost solitary so that they can do their nefarious things. So I'm just saying, I know that you are aware of the history. I'm just saying, whenever you speak of Burkina Faso, occasionally remind the audience that there are two other countries that have aligned themselves with Burkina Faso and are doing great things also.
Agree. And
yes.
I agree with that totally, because it's like Burkina Faso might be somewhat overshadowing the other two.
Yes.
Whereas the other two are doing extremely tremendous things as well.
Yes.
Because they are endowed with material, with resources as well.
Yes.
Like Niger, they are endowed with uranium.
Yes.
Where the French has lit and had enough to supply France 10 times over.
Yes.
Whereas the citizens in Niger had what to be lighting bottle lamps.
Yes. Could you imagine that? I mean, Hortensia was asking why France isn't coming to the aid of Haiti. But here's a perfect example. France is taking out uranium from Niger and using it to develop their nuclear facilities and whatnot. But the people in Niger are still using oil lamps. How atrocious can you be? And then they're pretending that they care about the development of black people? Go ahead, Africa.
Yeah, and so with my, I approach matters of this nature on a diplomatic front, but also I can be revolutionary as well. So even irrespective of my demeanor, my tone of voice, my revolutionary solidarity is very paramount when it comes to matters of this nature, because we will not stand idly and watch the suffering of our people for so long. And when it comes to a point where there are sites where it's dig themselves to the level of the surface of the soil from such a deep hole, someone is going to come and take a hammer and knock their heads down. It's not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen anymore. So I was forwarded a YouTube clip last night, and I assured the sister that I will sound my voice. I will sound the alarm on this matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, Hortensia. Imagine uranium. Uranium, you know, very, very, very costly mineral.
You know, the first time I heard about uranium, it was from one of the Avengers movies.
Okay.
I never heard of that mineral before. If I heard of it, I never took to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a big thing because the weapons and the suits and stuff they were making from the uranium proved to be very powerful.
Yeah.
Even in the new Captain America movie, his suit has some kind of uranium, be it fictional or not.
Yeah.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Yes, hello, it's me again. I don't quickly say this. No, I am not a Trumper. No, I am not for Trump. It's just that I think that the Democrats were lying on him a lot, and I did not go along with the lie, and I spoke out against those lies, just like Republicans lie a lot as well on Democrats, and when I know the truth about it, I speak the truth.
Yeah.
It to me like a situation we had back in Sudan, still exists today in St. Kitts. You speak out against Labour, or you is a PAM, or maybe now a PLP. Speak out against PAM, or you is a Labour. And when you might even be the PAM or the Labour that you're speaking out against, but it's just that you is an independent thinking person.
Yeah.
Maybe you're for none, which in this case, I'm not for any of them in America.
Yeah.
But I just speak as I see things.
Yeah.
And not Trevor used to say, he's a Trumper. Katensa get this from Trevor, no? He's a Trumper.
I get this from having interactions with you, kind sir. That's the only reason. I didn't know. You always saying, he gonna win. And we trying to dissuade you from being like, no. And you be like, yes, it's gonna happen.
No, but I can't remember exactly saying if he but even if I said if he was going to win, that I mean I for Trump.
Okay, I just making sure.
I could be for the Democrats, but I see the reality that Trump is going to win, and that's just it.
A lot of individuals said that Trump was going to win. I disagreed. But they proved me wrong. Yeah, and they weren't really Trump supporters, but they saw a trend. They saw a trend to some extent.
That's the trend.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Maybe I wish he didn't see the trend.
Me too.
But a lot of people saw the trend. A lot of people did see it. But trust me, Katenza, don't let Trevor pull that one on you.
No, it's
I am not for any of them.
Listen, he was here, I was here, all of us was interacting, and I always say you were for him. Not just today.
I never ever said anything. I never ever said anything that even indirectly hinted at Trump. What got Trevor angry with me was that I was not going along with the Democratic.
Okay, let me ask you this. And I don't even think he was angry with you. We just have passionate discussions.
Yeah, we just
if you had the chance to vote...
You're not going to tell me don't cut me off? You're not going to tell me don't cut me off?
But no, I don't know. But if you had the choice to vote between Mr. Biden, Miss Harris, and Mr. Trump, who would you have given the X to?
Yeah, Trevor asked me that already.
But I'm asking you.
And the answer that I gave, I said, really and truly, none of them. And if I am forced to vote, I would vote third party. Because with all due respect, I cannot stomach any of them.
Okay, got you. You answered my question. All right, sir. Okay. I do humbly retract my statement of saying you're a Trumper.
Okay. Let's take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Found the South 98.9.
If you live in low-lying areas, be aware of the possibility of tsunamis immediately after an earthquake. A strong earthquake lasting 20 seconds or more is a natural tsunami warning. Do not wait for an official warning. Gather your family members and evacuate immediately after the shaking stops. Don't delay. A tsunami could occur within minutes.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with Win FM.
Better Voices has a new time. Starting Friday, January 24, tune in from 10 to 12 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Voices right after Island Tea on Win FM. Money Matters with Dr. Terrence Martin moves to Monday afternoons from 1 to 2 p.m. Inside the News on Saturday mornings, now 10 to 12 noon. Tune in to Win FM 98.9. Log on to winmediaskn.com and our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch pages. And let's go. Keep up with the news on our website and by following our Win Media SKN channel on WhatsApp. Message your comments or call Win FM at 466-0989, 662-0989, or call our U.S. numbers from anywhere, 718-285-6984, 305-921-4619, and call our sales office at 466-9586. Voices, now 10 to 12 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Money Matters, 1 to 2 p.m. Monday afternoon. And Inside the News, Saturdays, 10 to 12 noon on Win FM 98.9.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we're back on Island Tea, and I'm just looking at something here to pop up on, and it says Trump chickened out. Do you know Donald Lawrence? Well, no, sorry, Lawrence O'Donnell. He's on MSNBC.
No, maybe I know the face, but
yeah, he has one of those nightly shows.
Yeah.
And it says, basically, Lawrence, China sees the world's biggest clown, Trump, as the most economically incoherent president ever. And it also goes on to say that what we did, it says, as China vows to fight till the end against Donald Trump's tariff, MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell explained how no one in Trump's administration dare say that. But what we did hear was the cowardly lion roar, Trump publicly begging President Xi to call him.
Seriously?
Yeah, so you go and pick a war and now you... Listen, I cannot. I cannot. And this is literally 10 hours ago.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm going to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I have to listen to this one because this is crazy.
Yeah. But I'm not too surprised because I don't understand
CNN has the same thing. Trump chickened out. Chinese social media mocks Trump on trade. Wow.
I don't understand how the Republican Party just let Trump come in and take over the party, and they followed him willingly, it seemed, because all they were concerned about was that he had the potential to win. And no one tried to rein him in. No one really could give him any advice, because if you told him anything he didn't want to hear, then he made sure that your career came to an end. Hello, caller?
Oh, yes, good morning again.
Morning.
Yes, with regards Trump, the thing with him is that he developed this reputation as an astute business person, an astute businessman. And even though there were lots of character flaws, character issues, and so on, I think the American people decided that, well, we want somebody who's going to know what they're doing with the economy, not electing a pastor, so forget the moral stuff, the morality stuff. But I think what Trump's way of doing business is really a headache to most people and most nations, right? We don't know how it will eventually pan out. I don't even think he knows, right? I think he's just trying something.
Yeah.
Trying something different. Break it to fix it, right? You have to break it, otherwise things will just go on.
But Mr. McMahon, with all due respect, do you think that someone with the kind of power position that Trump finds himself in should be trying things? You don't think that he...
No, he should not be.
Yeah.
He should be more responsible.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the whole point. People don't know what to expect from one day to the next. It's as bad as that.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, even people who know what they're doing haven't figured out a way to respond to this kind of lurching back and forth and so on. Right? So it's a
Doesn't he
whole.
have advisors?
But I'm saying that. But does he listen to them?
This is just
That's
sad.
the whole point, And I'm not so sure that he picked his advisors based on the aptitude
Their credibility.
and yes, and right, and the competence and so on. he picked them based on whether they were loyal or not.
Yep.
Right, and gonna tell him what he want to hear, and gonna massage his ego and those kinds of things. I don't know if that's the kind of leadership America really needed at this point in time, or the world for that matter.
The world,
okay?
yeah.
Right, but I guess eventually it's coming up to 100 days. Eventually, and it seems at least that he's tempering his radical policies, right? As you just mentioned there, he chickened out. That's not a word they should have used because Trump don't like that, and he's more.
But it's
more
not what
likely
he
to
likes.
react
He's
like
causing a lot of uneasiness for people. So he has to take what he gets. He say wrong things at times.
Well, no, but the thing is, he still has power, and if he behaves like a petulant child, like a spoiled child,
Which
he might just hit you, lash out again, right? So he has to be handled with kid love, so to speak.
Wow.
Right?
He didn't
Because
think
he
of
has
kids'
the power
love for
to
his
to
family. He
break
didn't think
things.
of kids' love for his family, which is the entire American nation. He didn't think of those folks. He just
Well, the thing is, he may in his mind honestly feel that he's doing right by them, right? It's just that he.
No.
Well, we can say no now, but they really feel, and remember they had a first term to look back on, and they didn't feel that things went so badly during his first term, so they didn't mind taking a chance again on in the second term.
They should know.
Okay? What's going to be crucial is those midterms. Like, if things don't improve by then, if he's still in this chaotic kind of confusion thing, I think he's going to really, and not just him, the Republican Party going to suffer in the midterms. But
bigly, according to Trump.
You said that
bigly, yeah.
You said that he's fast approaching 90 days, but it seems to me that this is the longest 90 days of these.
No, 100 days.
Yeah, 100 days.
Yeah, 100 days.
Yeah,
He said.
The longest.
Okay.
I find it the shortest because every day is something.
Yep.
Well, to me, the reason why I say the longest is because, man, this pain and suffering is like the man has been in for. You feel like the man has been in for about a year. The way how this prolonged agony.
But this is how he operated in his first term too. It was like that. I don't know how it lasted the 4 years, and I guess we're gonna have to last the 4 years now again. But,
unless he's impeached.
Impeached?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they have the votes to impeach him. And the Republicans themselves fear him. They fear him with a passion because they know that he can bring about their downfall, their personal downfall in their particular.
It's funny how we fear man and not God.
But the item you brought before about the visit to Washington is one thing that the previous administration used to do, at least the finance minister used to do, Dr. Harris used to do, that I think should have continued, was basically give a kind of progress report as the year went by. So, like, for instance, the first quarter and that kind of thing.
Okay.
That seemed to have stopped, and that would have been good so that people have a picture of how we're doing, how the economy is doing, what we can expect going forward. I think I mentioned before, for instance, whether or not, because I think June is fast approaching, whether or not the budget boost wallet would continue, whether or not the VAT is going to remain at what it is currently. If we had an up-to-date view of how the economy is doing. Really being able to predict, what may happen, and therefore make projections, make plans, and so on for the next quarter, and so on, right? But and I'm sure they have the figures, but just like anything else, we don't even know. For instance, we keep hearing that there's been a reduction in the inflows from the CBI, but we don't know for sure, right? Things like that. I don't know. Maybe they feel that the ordinary person couldn't care less about things like those. But those things affect how the ordinary persons are going to live, okay? How they're going to cope going forward. So really and truly, they should continue that practice of giving those quarterly reports so we know what's happening.
Do you know when is the last time we got a report? Caller, can you say
well,
when?
Probably around the budget time.
Okay.
Right. That's what I said. I mean, the first quarter has already gone. Just passed. So,
yeah. So the second one's
you
fast
think that we
approaching.
really would? It would be nice to know exactly. Hopefully, in the next roundtable session, someone, the journalist, asking.
Because we did speak about that, where we need to know, because as we had this conversation already, where we need folks to be prepared, because a lot of people say they use that to pay their electric bills. We see by them studying where the money is mostly spent, the Prime Minister could have said it was at the supermarket counters, right? So we need people prepared to know that you're going to actually have to buy less, or you won't have this support come June or July.
You mightn't be able to take, a vacation somewhere, because things like those, right? You can plan for it. Doesn't everybody have a bank account that you can just go in and tap into?
Yeah.
And do whatever you have to do.
Yeah. So people need to know.
People need to know, and that's a good way of reporting. That's a good way of reporting to the people. So that and not just ordinary people. I mean, business people too. I'm sure would be interested in how the economy is doing. I mean, and this is an opportune time because the cruise ships, the tourism, the tourist side of the economy is now going into a little lull.
Yeah,
I would
quiet
say.
time.
The cruise ship, right? The cruise ships are not as plentiful as before.
Yeah.
And so that would have some kind of impact on government inflows, and of course there's the domino effect of that in terms of people might be importing less, and so that would affect government coffers. All I'm saying is I suspect that they're saying that the ordinary person ain't interested in that. Right, and I don't think they should be as dismissive of that as that. I think ordinary people would like to know how the economy is going, so that they can cut their cloth,
adjust
how
the
it is,
suit.
cut the cloth to fit the suit or whatever, whatever the term is. Yeah. Let's hope that someone, the journalist, asks about that. Okay, and this CBI thing in particular, it's really time we get that behind us, one way or the other. It seems to be in a state of flux, not just here, but in the Caribbean generally. We're not sure what's going to become of it. I heard a clip of Ralph Gonzalez quoting, basically saying, using it against the opposition, because the opposition in St. Vincent and the Grenadines were thinking of introducing a program. And he was basically saying, look at what's happening to those who introduced it, whose economy depended on it. So he was using it as a cudgel against. I don't know how true that is. Maybe the inflows are still very good, for all we know, but we don't know. And it would be nice to know. So let's just hope we have a little more transparency, a little more openness, Government just, for some strange reason, they just tend to keep these kinds of things, which should be public information, close to their chest.
Caller?
I can't think of a good reason why they should do that.
Yeah.
I want to ask McMahon a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. McMahon, I'd like to ask you a question. You spoke about people cutting the garment according to the cloth or something like that. And I've mentioned that before, and I'd like to ask you the question. But the Prime Minister, our present Prime Minister, when he was campaigning, promised us that he's going to make things a lot more affordable, that he's going to bring down prices and things are going to be better and we're going to be able to buy more. As a matter of fact, he even condemned the little things, $100 at the time, was able to buy with the very few things. But when he gets in power, the $100 that was buying little then under Unity, and things were bad under Unity. Yes, things were bad under Unity and going back, and that's why the people vote them out, vote Labour and PAM. Sorry, PLP and PAM. But the Prime Minister promised that when he get elected, prices are going to go down, people are going to be able to afford much more, and the $100 are going to be able to buy even much more than it did back then. So I would like to ask, since you mentioned about cutting a garment country cloth, what about these promises that the Prime Minister said he's going to bring about with things coming more and more affordable as he's going to decrease prices?
I think it was an oversimplification to say that things were bad and that's why the people voted them out. You forget the politics that was involved in the time there. A lot of people were just fed up of the infighting and so on, and said enough was enough.
But what about the promises of bringing down prices?
Right.
So people go buy more and more.
Yes. Well, what I'd say to that is the usual thing, as you pointed out in the state, in the election in the states. People are essentially, the thing about politics and campaigning, you say the things that people want to hear and make the promises that people want, knowing full well that you're probably not going to be able to keep them. Because at that moment, the objective is to get into office. You can't do anything unless you're in office. And so basically you do virtually, it's an almost, whatever it costs, you do that to get into office. When you get in there, then is when you deal with reality. It's an unfortunate situation because it seemed to work every time. I won't say the people are gullible, but they fall for it every time. You know, they don't really analyze what they're saying. They just know that they're promising to do better. And that triggers an automatic reaction to vote for that. Okay? It works every time. So don't expect it to stop.
So would you agree with me then that it is intellectual dishonesty on the part of the PM for him now to be blaming all of the price increase on outside causes and at the very least implying that he cannot do nothing about it when he promised otherwise when he was campaigning?
Yes, but what can he do about outside influences, though, to be honest?
No. What Greg is asking something else, though. Okay. Greg is saying is intellectual dishonesty.
Okay.
And up to a point, yes, I would agree with him. It is, because they know better, right? But they also know what works in a campaign, right? And so the thing is...
But President Trump did the same thing, and now we're telling people, hold on. I'm going to make it a little better.
That's what he said.
That is what Greg said.
It works.
Yes.
So don't expect it to stop.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that part.
What would temper it, what would at least diminish it, is if people are more selective when it comes to using their vote. You know, if their vote is a precious thing and should be used wisely, not frivolously. You know, not because they promise to give you something, you automatically go and vote. I think we're at We normally say we're 90. Well, how much percent? 80, 98% literate or something like that.
Yeah, but Mr. McMahon, don't you think that the people were caught between a rock and a hard place? For instance, you said that the people were kind of annoyed with the infighting, this one saying this one did that and that one, and then we heard about the prison scandal and all that kind of stuff. So the people were fed up on that side, and there's this other side making you promises. You don't know how they're going to pan out, but you want a change.
You want a change, yeah.
So the people, I think, at that time did the only thing they could have done.
Yeah, and like I always say, I mean, if you're not getting the change you want, you change it.
Yeah.
You don't reward somebody for non-performance. You don't reward somebody who make promises and can't fulfill them.
Yeah.
Right. You change. Yeah. Right.
Mahan.
Government. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to ask another question. No, don't you? It's two questions later. Don't you think he promising to bring down prices, and so when he gets in, and now he find out that it is all external influences, which is not the case. I would argue it's not the case because I believe some are external and some are internal. But nevertheless, from his vantage point, since he believes that all of it is external and he can't really do nothing about bringing down prices, which he promised to do, don't you think he should come to the people them now and say, hey, when I was out campaigning, I thought such was the case. But now I'm in office, I realize it's different, so I really cannot bring on the prices as I promised you. That's number one. Number two, what about all of these? I remember when they were campaigning, they were telling you, well, it was Timothy at the time, but Timothy and Unity still. I remember when they were campaigning, they were telling them, hey, why y'all ain't releasing these reports? And especially, Curtis Cook, etc., was constantly on the radio saying, hey, why don't you all release this cheaper report, the this report, the that report, this report? How come now they're in office and the same reports are still not being released publicly?
Well, first of all, you can wait long for a government to admit that they were wrong. That's one of the hardest things for a politician and a government to do, right? But and it's really taking a risk because as soon as they do that, the opposition would probably pounce on them.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's very difficult, just like how it's difficult to for people to apologize. Well, some people at least to apologize for a mistake. It's the same thing with government and politicians. It's really a tough job for them to do that. It's rare that you find a politician. I was going to say an honest politician. Who is going to come out and say things that they know are going to make them look bad. It's just very real.
But people might be more empathetic in that sense. They might gravitate
Some
to you
people
more by you being honest and transparent with them. At least they know, okay, it's going to be hard for 3 months, so let me prepare myself. It's better to be in the know.
Especially at this stage, yes, rather than let them come
exactly. Just dropping them off.
Right. You're right. There might be a sympathy. People might sympathize.
Greg, we're a bit over time, See?
Yes. But the last question that Greg asked, though, the last question that he asked about the reports and so on, again, it seems in our situation extremely difficult to run a transparent and open government, right? It just, I don't know why it is. The opposition speaks about it in those terms, but when they get into office, they don't practice what they preach, right? Because we obviously don't have an open and transparent and accountable government right now. Otherwise, a lot of the things that have been happening would not happen, okay? But that's just our political environment, I think.
Okay. Well,
all right.
We've come to the end of another stint. Hortensia, you have any parting words?
Parting words for today. Give me 1 second. I think I had something right there. Let me pull it up. Okay. And wait. Getting to it. It says, it's an African proverb. It says, A cat that dreams of becoming a lion must lose its appetite for rats. Meaning, to achieve greatness, you must let go of all habits that could hold back your progress. So have a positive Thursday. Have a good Thursday. Thank you for joining in on the discussions. Hopefully by tomorrow we get our volume levels sorted. Thanks for staying tuned. We appreciate you greatly. Have a great Thursday.
Same here.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Hop into extra cash this Easter with TDC Financial Services. Need extra cash for your Easter celebrations? Whether it's shopping, home upgrades, a weekend getaway, or a fresh start. With TDC Financial Services Easter loan promotion, you can borrow up to $30,000 at low interest rates with affordable repayment terms. Getting your loan is quick and easy. Just visit any TDC Financial Services branch in St. Kitts on Central Street and in Nevis in the Longstone Building on Main Street in Charlestown. But hurry, this Easter offer is only available for a limited time. TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Supplegen is giving away 3 unforgettable shopping sprees valued at $1,200 each. Just shop and win. Spend $12 or more on Supplegen products at your favorite supermarket. Write your name and contact on the back of the bill and place them into the Supplegen entry form boxes. Enter as many times as you like. Promotion runs from April 1st to May 31st. Supplegen boosts you up.
Hey, have you heard about the water shortage in our area?
Yeah, it's pretty serious. I've been trying to conserve water as much as possible.
Me too. I've started taking shorter showers and turning off the faucet when I brush my teeth.
Look, that's great. Another way to save water is to fix any leaks in your house.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. How much water can a leak waste?
A small leak can waste up to 20 gallons of water daily, which can really add up over time.
Wow, that's a lot. And have to check for any leaks in my house.
But another good tip is to only run your dishwasher and washing machine when they are full to save water and energy.
I'll keep that in mind. It's important that we all do our part to conserve water, especially during this shortage.
Absolutely. Every drop counts.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Water Services Department. Learn more at water.gov.kn.
Too often, customers are counted but not valued, like mere numbers, statistics, transactions. But at Flow, we're rewriting the rules and prioritizing you, our valued customers, who have been with us through every milestone, every moment. That's why we're putting our money where your loyalty is. Flow customers claim your $600 gift card when you add internet to your current postpaid plan, because loyalty isn't a one-way street. At Flow, loyalty flows both ways.